All right, so let's do this, guys. So what I have realized is that I haven't been live, and so in this video, I'm going to show you guys what I built. And so what I built today, here, let's jump right into it, and I'm going to show you guys what I built, and then later we will talk about how I did this. Because the reason I'm going live is I was kind of doing this in person, and I was like, let me just show it to them because I haven't had time to make a video and stuff like that. So apologize for the rough intro, but basically today I worked on creating this guide. Real quick, just make sure I. All right, so today I worked on creating this guide, and so I have a lot of resources, and I'm basically going to do a YouTube video tomorrow for my buyers and sellers, and I want to go over how to buy and sell historic homes, and I want to offer this guide as a lead magnet. And so the reason I think a lot of people are going to opt in for this is because this was really hard to do, and it took putting together a lot of oh shoot, just knocked over my Mountain Dew. Um, almost knocked over. It took putting together a lot of data from a lot of different points. And so some of what I have is there is a YouTube channel that I watched religiously when I was like learning about the city of St. Pete. And so I used their YouTube channel. The city of St. Pete also has a bunch of resources and guides. And then like USF here in Tampa Bay, they have a huge archive where I found all these photos, stuff like that. And so I knew of all this stuff spread out that has helped me um, in like what like I've learned about the city of St. Pete and how I understand it as a real estate agent. And I know that like, oh my gosh, like if I could put it all together and make a guide, something like that, that would be super, super cool, super valuable. And it would help tell the story of my city more so. And so that was the kind of idea I had behind this. And then I wanted to make a video on this as well and kind of go into it very, very in depth. And so I basically today is one of the things I did with Claude today. And so like part of like the productivity unlock you get with AI is being able to do things like this really, really efficiently. And so um I told Claude, okay, here is where all this stuff lives. What do you need from me? What do we need to do? And we went through and we gathered all of this together. And then he created this guide. And so that's what I was like when he did this. This is done. I was like, this is a real life example use case of me as a real estate agent using Claude in my business. And a lot of people want to know, how do you use AI in your business? And so this right here is that. And so that's part of what I have made with Claude. And so here, I'll show you guys kind of where that is. And so let's go and find that. Boom. Hang on, bear with me. Okay, here's where it was. Here is where it was. So this is, let me make this bigger so that you guys can see it. And then let me just put this right next to it. And then we'll go through it like side by side. And I'll show you guys exactly how I made this. But it wasn't like quick, it was a good amount of back and forth. And it was a lot of giving him feedback, but I'll go with the starting prompt. And so, well, really, this isn't a good example because I had kind of in another chat a lot of it done, but for the most part, you guys can see. And I guess what am I trying to show you guys? Okay, this is what I'm trying to show you guys is that the reason I advocate for using this in the terminal and the reason that I was able to get such a good output that was detailed and the reason this wasn't a pain in the butt and hard to do was because it was done in the terminal. So as he was doing things, I was giving him feedback. I was saying things like, great, this looks awesome. I guess I don't see the interactive charts, which is okay. I like where you're going with more photos. I think I'm looking at the right one. And then he kind of went through, okay, Aaron likes the photos. Let me add more photos. And so we were kind of in the design phase and I couldn't decide how much of this I wanted to be like charts and then how much like I wanted it to be pictures and then how much I wanted AI generated pictures and stuff like that. And so he went back and forth so that we actually hit our usage. That's how much data he was putting together because the YouTube channel with the walking tours, that is, I took those transcripts and I put them in a vector database, which I'll show you later in this chat. And so he used that plus all the guides and all the data to create this. And that's why it's so good. And it's just like, and it's honestly pretty cool. I'll show you guys more what that looks like. So then I said I like the timeline century. I think I was up here because there was a couple visual things I did like. Um, like I like this, and I might have him fine tune this a bit more, but like a cool like timeline of kind of how this went in the city. But then I also had him, verify some things. Then I said, okay, I said, I think in the PDF guide, it's okay to include direct screenshots of actual city design guidelines. Get PDF how whole embed within our guide. It's definitely super helpful, but those kinds of things should be in the PDF version. Does that make sense? Because we were going to do a web version and then a PDF version. And so trying to figure out the right way to do this. Yes, go for it. Use Asian teams to do it. So then he gives me a plan. Okay, let's do this web guide, and then let's also do a separate PDF guide, and then I'll create them both. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Use Asian teams to be more effective. And I don't even know if we have anyone in the chat, but then I was like, when you were done, I want to preview it. And he said, well, do. Web architect report step is up. And then I said, okay, you still reuse some old photos and stuff. So then we went back and forth. Let's just try to focus on the PDF guide. And so it was like a good amount, but it did not take like as long as like this was kind of one day and one of the many tasks. We could also tighten this up here so it reads better, have short tape. So then anyhow, so this is how I went back and forth. He was editing it within like the physical HTML and then creating a guide from that is how I understand it. And then he created this, I think it's a Python script that creates this guide. And if you have any more insight on that for whatever reason, let me know. And so that was one of the things that we worked on. The other thing that we worked on really, and part of the reason why it has taken me a while to make more videos is he fixed Moonify. So that's great. So that's done. So we were working on deploying some stuff there. And let me think what else I want to show you guys really around what we were kind of doing. See, so this was for City of St. Pete. Let me look at the other one. Okay, yeah, here's a good one. So part of what I wanted him to do in one of the instances was I wanted to take some of the data we had and tweak our website. Actually, this is pretty cool. Let me pull up like in what that looks like. Give me 1 second here. Don't you guys hate it when you can't when you're on live and you just can't like find things? It's like the worst. Okay, here we go. Boom. I don't know why this was difficult to find for me, but it took me a second. So here in neighborhoods, this is new that we did today. And so I was like, okay, we did all this research creating this historic guide. It would be really cool to then kind of work on our neighborhoods pages and really build these out. And so, kind of some of what we have for each neighborhood, for example, like Gulfport, I'll click on it. And this kind of he did all here on the left side. This was actually mostly he did autonomously. We did localhost, so I previewed some of that. I gave him some feedback here and there. Crescent Heights could be repositioned better. Euclid could be positioned better. Tierra Verde is wrong. Stuff like that. Pink Streets is wrong. I said, what can we use for placeholders for images that we don't have? Because like he had images for some of the neighborhoods and then some he didn't. And then we came up with this kind of like design for the maps. And I was like, okay, that's great. Let's do that. That's a cool one. And so then he did that. And so we kind of went back and forth doing this, but the reason it was nice to do this in Claude Code is because he was able to actually create things on the website, and I'll show you what I mean by, like, they were, like, interactive. Like, if I go here, like, any of these really, like Gulfport, for example, um, it's got all this stuff, history on it, like a little card thing of, like, what to expect in terms of the different style homes, and for you and your niche, you might build it out different, but the idea with this that I was really trying to show is that really the mind is the limit in terms of what you can do, um and then in terms of the backlinking that you could do here is if you create super in-depth neighborhood pages, you could start linking to other spots. You want to do that for sure. So this is something we got to work on actually. Let me go in here. On neighborhoods, the links that we put in, the external linking, like for the schools and stuff, how we wanted to connect all those, they are not all connected correctly. Okay, some of the schools are connected correctly, like the magnet options, but not all of them, like Bear Creek Elementary, for one example, isn't. I don't know why. Maybe it's the Pinellas County link that's wrong, but can you look into that? That's actually a weird one. Yeah, for all these other ones, it's working. For all the other ones, it's working. So that might be a freak use case. But that's kind of how you can work with Claude. So then, like, the idea is like the future is you notice things on your website and you just hit up Claude and you're like, "Hey, that thing on my website, can you fix that?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, can do." But the reason you'd want to kind of link to other places is you want to build domain authority. And so if this is like a really good resource for the historic overview of this neighborhood, you could link to I mean, you wouldn't really reach out to schools and stuff, but you might reach okay, yeah, here's all these spots is exactly where you would reach out to, and you would let them know that you put together this article and that if they could maybe reference you, and then you can show them that, like, I mean, you've cited things well even within your article of where you got your information and that stuff, and that 'cause that's really what we're doing here is we're just helping put together a bunch of information in a way that's helpful, um, and help show nuance, and they'll like that. They'll appreciate that, and you might wanna tweak this however you want, but what's cool is you can when you have a website like this, you can do it however you want, and that's kind of the benefit here with this, but then you could put, like I mean, you could really go all out here, like, here I had it go and, like, find, like, things people have said on Reddit or different threads about Gulfport, and then here's, like, different articles and stuff, but yeah. And then you wanna do, like, internal linking and stuff, but really the backlinking strategy when it comes to SEO is you just want people to either funnel traffic to your website, or you just want them to link to you in their blog posts so that you can get better domain authority, and that's really it in a nutshell. But, that's really, kinda what I wanted to show you guys that I was working on today. If y'all are interested in testing out Moonify, the other thing that we have been chipping away at is just testing this out in general. And here I'll like show you guys a use case. But oh shoot, I don't know why this pulled up. Sometimes Claude needs to do things in Playwright, and he'll just pull that up, and I'll kind of be like, "What is that?" So anyhow, in here I have tweaked this now so that you can in settings there's now the ability to kind of add in um, a URL here, and then it'll generate a QR code for you, and then these HTML templates then will let me show kind of what and like an end design will look like. Kind of like here was one that we tested. Let me find a better one. Here was one that was an old one, but basically they're gonna look like this. Here's a successful downloaded version. You guys can see that. And so the idea is that the letters now all have QR codes, but I made it so that if you opt in for the QR code, the prompt will adjust and and it will reference whatever is on that QR code as the offer in the letter. And so that's something new that I added today. But overall, this is working. I tested it out a couple times, but you guys, again, this is why it's free, is because I want people to be able to use this and be able to experience it. But I got some decent letters, I got some failed letters, but I'll show you guys some of what I got when I was doing this. Here's one. Said, hey there, something jumped out at me while I was researching your neighborhood in Avalon Park. Honestly, it changed how I think about how I think about what happened with your listing on Interworld Lane. It's not what most agents would tell you, and I think it's worth a few minutes of your time. Here's what I found. Buyers shopping near your price range in Wesley Chapel right now aren't just comparing homes, they're comparing monthly payments. And builders in your area are offering rate buydowns. No wonder it felt frustrating. Your home wasn't the problem. The good news, there are real ways to reframe the payment conversation to attract buyers who are the right fit. I'd love to share 2 to 3 specific strategies that work in this exact situation. Give me a call or whenever I'm at, or shoot me an email. Boom. That was an older one. And then I had a newer one generate around the QR code. I want to say that one was down here. This one, let's see. Here's one of these. Maybe it's this one up here. I don't know. But let's do one. Let's do one together. Let's do one. Let's test this out. Let's test this out. So anyhow, you'd go in, you'd add a lead, you would pick a workflow. There's only one. You would add them to a workflow. It begins researching. And so the idea is it's expired listing. And so you add them to this workflow and it's researching and it's trying to look for gaps, look for maybe properties that are selling really quickly, why maybe their property didn't sell, how many listing photos do they have, what's in the listing description, what all can we gather. And then based on that, it is writing a letter that is going to be personalized. And so it's not just writing one letter. The idea is that it's going to write, you're going to put people on a workflow and then you'll send them one letter where it's just like an initial intro. And you can send them out manually yourself by just downloading them for free. Again, all this free. Or you can send them out with PCM, which is what this is connected to. And then you just connect your PCM integrations account with it. And that's it. But that's how this works, guys. So, yeah, this was the other thing that we were chugging along with, and then, yeah, we were testing these out, we were working on that, kinda had some I don't know how I feel about the web guide, so for now, I just said, "Let's just pause on it," but there was some, like, cool stuff that we were kinda wanting to do with the historic data that we have and, like, maybe some ways we can map it or, like, maybe even some stuff on, like, all the architects in St. P and the notable ones, maybe you can find some pictures on them, but, maybe like a better I want a better timeline. I don't really like how this one looks, but I wanted more of an interactive kinda timeline so people could see even the history, but it didn't come out as well, the web guide, but I wanna roll this out quickly for my buyers because I wanna do a whole video on this, so I'm just gonna do the PDF guide for now, and I'm gonna wait on this for a later date. That being said, though, guys, honestly, um, you should definitely make guides because you could make guides like this. You could funnel leads to this, however, email, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I don't know, whatever it is, direct mail, Facebook ads. But the idea is you have some sort of offer, something that they want for free, and then you make them give you their email for it. And then they get this thing for free. And the whole idea of it being a web guide too is it's like they get it instantly, which they're gonna love. And where I think this is cool is one, nobody has this. So you as a realtor instantly you stand out, which is great with these web guides. And then two, you can create these completely with Claude. So you don't have to worry about having to figure out how to design them. You don't have to worry about blah, blah, blah. Really, if you could just grab the MLS CSVs from the MLS, grab your data, and just kind of work with Claude to build this out, you can have a pretty dang good, clean thing built out. And so that is the argument around that. Um, but anyhow, I'm not going to drag this video out. That's all I have for the day. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to try to make a better video, more like polished video on Claude. But I've been really hustling on getting just Moonify back up and running because I've seen some of you guys sign up for the free trial. And then I've also got the other tool that I'm honestly like super excited about, which is this CMS tool, which you guys can also use this as well. I've got tutorial videos on this, but this makes it so that you can post blogs at scale, like what like the strategy I'm trying to do with my website, where I am just kind of posting really good blogs that have a lot of depth that are going to get me that AI search, that SEO, how to do this at scale. I made a free tool literally that you guys can use. Yeah, it might be a little tricky setting up, but you gotta give me the feedback. That's why it's free. So, but whatever feedback you guys can give me on this is perfect because, yeah, the ability to post blogs at scale is just nuts. Like, I totally think this is a gap where if you're hopping on this, like, even if you had, like, you could have a website on every neighborhood, even in your city. But with this tool, you can do that. You can do them on scale. Claude will write them. He'll dump them in here. You schedule them out, you put them on a calendar, and then you can go in here and feedback and all that. So that's it. But anyhow, that's I got a lot of stuff I'm working on, but I've really appreciated all of you that have reached out to me. Just let me know that you are interested in this kind of stuff and that you are looking for the unlock and the edge because it was way more people than I thought, which has been super encouraging. Because I do think that yeah, this is like the coolest thing ever. And the coolest time to be alive is just that we're at the dawn of all this. Anyhow, that's all I'll say on that.